Good evening. It's a park with a problem needing a fix. And after months of delay, the city finally has a plan to save the scenic pond and the animals that call it home. Eyewitness News reporter Roxy Bustamante is live on the city's northwest side with more on the 6-month project at Denman Estate Park. Roxy?
In less than 2 weeks, the city will start the $297,000 project to fix the pond. Now, many people were concerned about the wildlife, but they all left tonight feeling at least that their questions were finally answered. Neighbors, environmentalists, and friends of the park all packed the house Thursday night to hear the city's point man explain how his team will fix the leaking pond.
The pond actually is a man-made pond and it has fissures, and so water is leaking from the bottom of the pond, which there's not a direct water source for it. We have to fill the pond with potable water, and so in order to fix the leak, it was necessary to drain the pond, install a liner that'll secure the water loss at where it's occurring.
Part of the process, crews will upgrade the pond, adding vegetation and installing a peninsula.
It's a new feature that doesn't exist today. It'll allow the people, or the community rather, to interact with the pond in a new way, give a new view shed of the pond that currently doesn't exist.
But equally important for those who live nearby, the welfare of the wildlife.
Well, my concerns have always been about the wildlife.
Robert Clare walks through the park every day. He specifically mentioned the deer, ducks, and geese that live near the water, as well as the fish and turtles in it.
Through community input, we've developed a habitat management plan.
It includes relocating those animals and providing water troughs to accommodate the wildlife both in and around the pond while it is drained.
I'm looking forward to the completion of the project and having the park, I think, improved. Now, the park will remain open during construction, but parts of it will be blocked off while the city is transporting those animals to their temporary locations. Reporting on the northwest side, Roxy Bustamante, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.